Third reading of House Bill 200, Senate Draft 1, relating to the state budget.
Discussion. Senator
Madam
Ige.
President, yes, I rise to speak in support of this measure.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I just wanted to start by thanking the members of the Ways and Means Committee and the entire Senate for their input, contributions, and suggestions that helped guide the development of the Senate draft of the executive budget. And I would also like, if you would permit me, a moment to acknowledge the staff of the Ways and Means Committee. I think all of you, as a senator from the Big Island in the moment of contemplation had mentioned, I think we all understand how important the staff is in our being able to carry out our obligations on behalf of the people of Hawaii. And I did want to take a moment to introduce the staff from the Ways and Means Committee and my office staff who really helped the committee to keep on task and really move forward. So if you could hold your applause till they're all introduced, I would like to introduce all of them here. First, and this is in alphabetical order, Ashley Advincula, Keao Azama, Rod Becker, Budget Chief, Dana Chikamoto, Jonathan Chikamoto, Brittany Dunton, Michael Hamasaki, Bill's Chief Susan Hirai, Joyce Kami, my office manager, Will Kane, who works on the CIP. Is Will here? No. Sabrina Nasir, Robert Nishimoto, Derek Okubo, Alan Sarhan, Michelle Scala, Mei Yi Cheng Steele, Daniel Trong, Daniel's not here, Ryan Suji, and Tony Valdez. Members, if you could give them a round of applause. You know how important it is, and they keep me on task and focused on the budget. Madam President, the approach that your Ways and Means Committee took in dealing with the executive budget was cautious, conservative, with a regard to budget expansion and fiscal manners. You know, as living through several sessions of budget cutting, we clearly did not want to grow the state budget too fast where we would be faced with making reductions to the state budget. As a priority, we believe that we need to provide a solid financial base for the state as the economy recovers and expands. This proposed Senate draft of House Bill 200 cuts about $134 million from the executive request, while still making important strategic investments in our community. In developing the budget, we continue to adhere to the following principles. First, support the state's core functions, including programs that provide services for those most in need. Next, make strategic investments in people and programs that encourage economic growth and lower future costs. And third, support long-term planning and accountability efforts to fundamentally change the character and delivery of government services. Our committee has supported the recapitalization of the Emergency Budget and Reserve Fund and the Hurricane Relief Fund to ensure that the state has adequate reserves as we pursue a broader capital improvement program. And I did want to comment on the unfunded liabilities of other post-employment benefits. Despite the scarcity of general funds, the Senate draft continues to include $200 million over the fiscal biennium to begin making payments for other post-employment benefits. Over the past several years, the state has made significant progress in addressing the unfunded liability of the employee retirement system. The appropriation of funds for OPEB payments and the passage of the Senate's version of Senate Bill 946 that serves as a solid foundation and framework for future payments will also demonstrate the legislature's commitment to address the unfunded liability of the EUTF. We believe that paying down our unfunded liabilities must be our priority, not left to discretion. Our proposal ensures that all state and county employers pay 100% of the annual required contribution for OPEB within 6 years. This would ensure that our unfunded liabilities on both fronts are firmly in hand. I did want to comment on the fact that the executive budget is the largest component of the State General Fund financial plan. Since the Senate's plan does not consider increases in any broad-based tax, this committee has exerted control over growth in the budget so that resources are available to address issues the budget document does not. As presented to the legislature, the State General Fund financial plan relied upon a carryover balance and revenue measures that the legislature was not certain to adopt. As would be expected of any household or business, your committee carefully scrutinized expenses in an effort to avoid a budget that could not be supported by realistic operating revenue. The executive budget request would add about $1.2 billion in general funds over the upcoming fiscal biennium. While this is significant, the costs are largely non-discretionary in nature. $78 million in the budget in each year is needed to restore labor costs. This amount represents the 5% reduction in compensation that state workers have endured over the last 2 years in an effort to keep our budget balanced. This restoration does not include any increase for collective bargaining contracts that are arrived at before the end of session. This cost and others such as debt service, health premiums, retirement benefits, Medicaid, federal sequestration mitigation, and the state's first payments for its share of the EUTF unfunded liability amount to $908 million, or nearly 3/4 of the governor's general fund budget request. This draft of the executive budget supports the payment of all of these costs and other high priority items, yet still reduces the general fund budget request of the governor by more than $130 million. The governor's budget request includes several significant initiatives and numerous other requests from state departments. Many of these requests would restore some of the significant reductions enacted over the past few years. Some of the significant items that we funded included $54 million for the Office of Information Management and Technology to modernize the state's IT infrastructure, $27 million to establish an early learning program, $55 million for the weighted student formula to support students in the classroom. The committee found value in nearly all of the requests for funds it reviewed. However, tough choices had to be made. Though the Council on Revenue projection has relieved some of the financial pressure, the increase pales in comparison to the countless requirements and needs of the state. Thus, the committee was judicious in the allocation of the state's limited resources. This budget provides $6.1 billion for FY14 and $6.2 billion for FY15 in general funds, and $11.9 billion in FY14 and $12.2 billion for FY15 across all means of financing. Controlling the increase in state government expenditures allows us to assure that funds are available in the financial plan to consider first, collective bargaining costs should the executive and the collective bargaining agents arrive at a contract that are ratified, and payments of future liabilities so that the next generation does not bear the cost accrued by the current generation. And we also have space available for possible tax relief in the form of tax credits or income tax adjustments as appropriate. Colleagues, I encourage all of you to support the budget, as I believe that it identifies the most pressing priorities for all of us to move forward. Thank you.